What is the kindest thing anyone has ever done for you? I know, that's coming out of the gate with a really big question, but think about it for a second. Now, I have some pretty great people in my life who have done plenty of kind things for me over the years, but honestly, one of the kindest moments that sticks out to me in my memory happened 15 years ago. And I was working at a church as an intern for these two student pastors, and we got sent to this 3-day conference where you're supposed to learn how to become better pastors or something. And after a long day of driving, we checked into our hotel, and then we found ourselves sitting at a Dave & Buster's for dinner because we were grown-ups. Right after we placed our order, one of the guys that I worked for around the table had this idea. And he said, hey, since we're supposed to be at this conference to grow and get better, why don't we start right now? Let's go around the table and tell each other if we see anything in the other dude's life that is holding them back, that maybe they aren't aware of. And I thought, no. Dude, dial it back. We are sitting here waiting for hot wings to arrive, and there are people playing skee-ball right over there. I was not on board with this. But both of these guys are my bosses, so what am I gonna do? I was stuck. And so those guys volunteered to receive the harsh truth first. And then it was my turn. My leg was nervously bouncy, my palms were sweaty, and then they started telling me what I didn't want to hear. And the stuff they told me absolutely sucked to hear. But the instant they said it, I knew they were 100% right. It seemed so obvious after hearing it out loud, but there were definitely things that I was doing and habits I had formed that were holding me back. I just couldn't see them by myself. And honestly, the fact that these guys were willing to dive into a really uncomfortable conversation and tell me things they knew I didn't want to hear just because it was for my own good is honestly one of the kindest things anyone's ever done for me. That may sound like a really weird example of kindness. I get it. Because we usually equate kindness with being nice or pleasant or agreeable, right? And sometimes that view gets kind of exaggerated into this sort of weak, smiley, pushover kind of person. And if that's your idea of kindness, it can be tough to read a verse like the one we're studying right now. Jared kicked us off last week, and if you missed it, you should check it out once you're done with this video. But we looked at a verse written by the Apostle Paul in Colossians 3:12. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, and we'll stop there. Paul gives this whole list of character traits that Jesus followers are to choose to put on each morning. And the second one he lists is kindness. I don't know about you, but the thought of consciously choosing every morning to be weak or to let people walk all over me, that's not very appealing. But that's not what biblical kindness is. I mean, no one would argue that Jesus was kind, right? But he wasn't weak or a pushover. He got right up in people's faces when the situation called for it. The Apostle Paul wasn't weak. I mean, the guy traveled the globe, planting churches, standing firmly for the truths of God, and it got him thrown in prison a bunch of times and ultimately killed. Kindness must mean something different if these men who preach it aren't these total weakling nice guys, right? When you get to the heart of it, I think kindness is better defined as doing what is best for someone else. Yes, sometimes what is best for someone else is being really nice. It's helping them move, it's lending them your car, it's encouraging them or boosting their self-esteem somehow. But sometimes what's best for someone else is telling them something they don't want to hear, but desperately need to. Sometimes what's best is challenging someone or even calling them out when they're way out of line. If you read the Gospels, you'll see Jesus doing every single one of these things for different people in different situations. Now, before you run out and decide to start rattling off truth texts to everyone who has ever annoyed you, here's the catch. The motivation for true kindness must be love. You have to sincerely want the other person to succeed, to want what's best for them. This isn't a license to be a jerk. This isn't permission to run around telling your friends that their outfit isn't working or that they wouldn't be a starter if their dad wasn't the coach. This is a call to try and bring something better into someone else's life. And often, true kindness will go against what's easiest for you. It's uncomfortable to tell someone a tough truth. It is inconvenient to give up part of your weekend to help your grandpa with yard work. And it can be annoying to read the same book to your little sister for the 400th time. But if you choose to put on kindness in the morning, then you will filter every opportunity or request through this question: what is best for this person? So, how are you doing on the kindness scale today? Are you genuinely seeking what's best for others out of a sincere love for them? Are you willing to set aside your comfort or your preferred schedule for the day to show kindness to someone else when the opportunity presents itself? If you are a follower of Christ, you have taken off those old priorities, those old ways of looking at the world, and you are daily putting on Jesus' ways of looking at the world. And Jesus was always 100% focused on what was best for others.